A former medical technician reveals Planned Parenthood harvested organs from an aborted baby who was still alive at the time of the abortion. Wyatt Goolsby reports on this latest in a series of undercover videos.
Brian, Planned Parenthood is working to counter the steady release of critical videos aimed at exposing abortion-related practices, but it'll be hard for them to defend themselves against this latest video released today, which describes a very graphic procedure.
And she's like, okay, can you go the rest of the way? And I'm like, yes. And I didn't want to do this.
It's hard for Holly O'Donnell to describe what she saw while working at a Planned Parenthood clinic. The former STEM Express technician says at no point did she feel comfortable with what her colleague told her to do, harvest the brain from an aborted baby whose heart was still beating.
And she left and she's like, okay, you can clean it up. And I'm just sitting there like, what did I just do? And that was the moment I knew I couldn't work for the company anymore.
The video is the 7th in a series put out by the Center for Medical Progress. The goal is to uncover what Planned Parenthood clinics do with aborted fetal tissue. The videos have sparked a nationwide debate on government funding for the nation's largest abortion provider.
If Congress does not have the courage to defund Planned Parenthood, I'll tell you what, President Fiorina, when we go to zero-based budgeting, I simply will not provide the money to fund Planned Parenthood.
Republican presidential candidates Jeb Bush and Rand Paul have also vowed to defund Planned Parenthood if they are elected. 5 states, including Alabama, have at least partially cut funding. Formal investigations are underway in several other states. Planned Parenthood says the videos are part of a smear campaign. They claim the videos are politically motivated, heavily edited, and fail to show how tissue donations support life-saving research.
Now, those arguments may not be enough to keep Planned Parenthood from losing more support. STEM Express, the company that provided some of those technicians, have already cut ties with the organization. Brian.
Wyatt Goolsby, thank you. And joining us in studio, Jeanne Mancini, president of March for Life. First of all, Jeanne, your reaction to this latest video?
Oh, it was terrible, and they all have been,
Sure.
but I know it took me hours to recover after watching it today, and I suggested to my staff maybe that they not watch it because it was so hard. We're talking about brains and beating hearts and all sorts of just really graphic and horrific things.
She talked about this difficult procedure. It sounds like murder to me.
Yeah, no question.
You have a baby who's alive. But because there have been so many of these, 7 now, and I'm sure there will be more of these videos, is there a risk that we'll just get numb to this?
Absolutely. I think that there is that risk. And literally this morning I thought that when I clicked on it and started thinking about, okay, I'm going to watch this. Am I going to be numb? I've watched so many of these. And then I was surprised. I think today's affected me the most. Maybe we should all say a prayer before we watch them because I think we should be deeply disturbed by what we're seeing. I mean, this is just such an inhumane treatment of human life.
This is now coming into the public eye, but isn't this seedy foundation of Planned Parenthood, it's been there all along.
It has been there. The actual foundation of Planned Parenthood was very much tied to eugenics thought. Many of the founding directors were actively involved in the eugenics movement. Margaret Sanger herself was very pro-eugenics. She started this terrible project called the Negro Project and believed that certain people were imbeciles or just had a lesser kind of value as human beings. Later, Alan Guttmacher was also tied to eugenics. He was one of the presidents of Planned Parenthood. So this has gone on and on for many years into the 70s.
So a recent report claims that half of Americans haven't seen these videos, which means the other half have. That's a lot of people.
I thought it was good news. I mean, you know, I do want everyone to watch them if they can. It's so hard to see it, but the fact that half of America has watched these, I think we're in a watershed moment in terms of the pro-life movement right now, and there's so much that Planned Parenthood has for us to discover and to talk about in terms of some of their finances and all sorts of different problems that I think it's a wonderful thing that so many people have watched these and can talk about it.
So you think this is really just the tip of the iceberg?
I do. I think it's a watershed moment, and I'm curious as to how God is going to use this. I know at the March for Life we're praying daily about our piece in this puzzle to bring it into the light and how to bring a culture of life to the United States and end Planned Parenthood.
Well, thank God for the March for Life. Jeanne Mancini, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.